So the first person is Sara Maldon. She's the head of business automation and AI at Make. Amazing. She's a high energy and driven leader in the AI space that help companies to understand the value of AI and what it brings to their business. From automation to RAG and fine tuning, she's the lead AI she led AI projects of all kinds to unlock customers' value and deliver on business goals faster, which is the best of AI. That's what we want. We want to deliver the goals faster. As a head of business automation and AI at Make, she leads efforts to deliver impactful automation, empower teams with AI tool, and foster an AI-first mindset across the organization. So welcome, Sara. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Super nice to be here. So a long story short from Bianca, yes, I do everything AI at Make, and Make is an AI company, so that is naturally a very exciting place to be. And I will share with you a little bit of what we learned in our journey. So if you just give me a second to share my screen.
Sure.
Right.
Make is amazing. By the way, love you guys. Thank you for all the work you're doing. We use it a lot, like daily. So it's amazing. I'm super excited to hear everything that you're going to talk to us.
It's always it always makes me very happy to hear, because I think Make is an incredible company, and it's an incredible product that makes building really fun. So hopefully by the end of today, you will also experience what we experienced, understand what we are building, why we are building it, and what value we are getting out of it. So again, to repeat, this is something that we've actually done at Make. So all of these use cases are bulletproof and tested by my own team. And you will get a sneak peek into some of the lessons that we learned.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Jumping into the story, I do want you to meet Zoe from marketing. So Zoe is someone who works in marketing, and Zoe wants to maximize her potential with AI, automation, and agents. And she's just at the beginning of the journey. So she will be accompanying us throughout this presentation. Because as we were learning back then, but when we were just starting, we were just like Zoe, trying to figure out how we can use AI, automation, and agents in all over the business, but marketing including. And this will be a very marketing-focused storyline. Because Zoe is at the beginning, she might want to answer the first question of why would she even choose no-code? Right? So I don't know if you know a little bit about Make, but Make is a way to automate without using code. So Make is a way that you can connect in a visual way different systems, different tools, and make workflows that run, processes that run, automations that bring you value in, again, really visual, no-code way. And the reason why we think this is really powerful is because it has quite an intuitive interface, and that means that anyone is now able to use this automation and try to build their own processes, be it someone in the technical team or someone in the marketing. We do have more than 2,500 apps that you can connect, so more than 2,500 different tools. And out of those, 400 are AI. So you can literally integrate AI into any kind of process, any kind of workflow. And we also support with some pre-built solutions. So you will get some of the solutions afterwards. So you will get some of the resources after this event. But the ones that I'm going to share are really the ones that we put to work in our own place. So Zoe, now knowing what Make is a little bit about, hopefully that way she wants to, she understands why no-code is a nice tool to use. Even more so, I wanted to kind of tell Zoe, or highlight Zoe, that there are different reasons why also no-code makes a lot of sense, right? Because no-code really allows her to be independent. It really allows her to integrate with other tools, because we all know that the marketing tech stack is just a lot of tools at the same time. And because there are so many apps, it is a good way how to connect all of those apps in one place. It is also a good way to deploy fast and autonomously, not waiting for the teams multiple weeks to do something, to build something for Zoe. Zoe can go and deploy very fast on her own, and she can keep visibility over all the processes because it's visual at the end of the day. So I did want to cover this as a little bit of context, because I do think that storyline is important in case you've never heard about Make before, in case you're just new in automation more broadly. You can be lost in the many automation tools that are out there, many automation platforms. So I wanted to make sure that you also, just like Zoe, have a little bit of a sneak peek into why some of the tools make sense and where do some of those tools make sense. So with that in mind, we are going to cover 3 things. So we are going to cover 3 lessons or 3 steps in the journey that we had at Make internally. We are going to come back to the point where we started doing really quick prototyping with a very small processes that helped us to build AI into something that we do on a day-to-day basis, but it was maybe just a 3-step process. It was maybe connecting something from sending an email somewhere, summarizing it with AI, right? I'm going to talk about some of those use cases that are extremely simple, some of the problems where AI makes sense when you are just starting out. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to go into building full AI workflows. So I'm going to show you some of the AI workflows that we've built internally at Make and some of the processes we try to automate in marketing at Make and succeeded. So I'll also talk a little bit more about that. And once you kind of build workflows, you realize that when you package different workflows together, you end up building products. So I just want to go a little bit deeper into how far the automation tools can go. So it's not just about prototyping fast and perhaps closing some deals faster with your customers. It's not just about automating a complex process, but eventually it can be even about creating different products that then your entire company or your entire team is using. So I did want to just highlight how far that journey can go. So with that in mind, hope you're ready for the first step of the journey, because I did promise that there is a starting point that's not so difficult and that everyone can think about. So with that, I'm going to plunge into what are some of the problems, and I call them the AI problems, that you can think about when you're just like Zoe at the very beginning of the journey. Because I think at the very beginning of this journey, what is really important and what makes a lot of sense is trying to understand what type of problems make sense to solve with AI and what types of problems doesn't make sense to solve with AI, right? Because not every problem is an AI problem. AI is not a silver bullet. It's not a magic wand. It's not going to fix everything just by putting a toggle button in a different direction, right? So with that in mind, let's jump into what are some of the AI problems that immediately, whenever you see in your business, whenever you see in your day-to-day work, okay, I have this problem, AI makes a lot of sense here. And it might not be a surprise. So I'm going to start with something that's fairly obvious in a way, because I also want to say, yeah, of course that's an AI problem. But we will end at the point where you might think about it a little bit differently. It might surprise you. You might not have come up with that AI problem the first time when I said, okay, these are the AI problems, right? So I also want to show you the full breadth of the kinds of things that you can encounter. But starting with the obvious one, you can think of a summarization. So when everyone thinks of an AI, we can summarize 20 tickets into one weekly report, right? And that used to take forever. Now it doesn't take forever anymore. I think an important point when it comes to summarization is the fact that, normally it's, and when you go to ChatGPT, you have to manually prompt it every single time. But if you automate, you can have this automated report at the end of the week. And I do think that is one benefit of the automation on top of the AI that ChatGPT doesn't give you. Overall, ChatGPT chatting with AI simply doesn't execute work, right? You need automation to have repeated process again and again. Another perhaps obvious problem is text creation. So AI, of course, is generative technology, so it can generate AI. So it can be very good, as you can see in this case, to have a simple process where you have some topic, maybe there is a brief, and from that topic you generate a post and you can automatically prepare that post for posting on LinkedIn, right? So again, in a very obvious example, so whenever there's a text creation, you can think of there might be a piece where AI makes sense. But now I think we will start getting into a little bit more of an exciting area, which is perhaps unknown to some of you. And the first one that I'm going to start with is classification. So actually AI is very good to classify things. I'm just going to give you an example. You can give it 100 posts and it can give you a few categories and it can classify each post by that category. that is repeated in that process, right? So it's really good to make sense of data and give it certain categories so you can clean up some of the things, or you can maybe create a logic where something happens if this category is satisfied. So AI is really good for classification. Whenever you need to classify something automatically, AI is generally a good partner for that. Moving on to something, again, that might not be immediately in your mind, is something called sentiment analysis. So actually AI is very good in understanding the sentiment, understanding the emotion from different messages, which is particularly useful in some of the marketing copy. So you can, for example, analyze comments for sentiment, or you can analyze, as in this case, customer feedback. You can simply analyze what is the probable emotion that is being conveyed in some kind of reaction, which can become very handy in some of the marketing work that you might be doing. And now we are finally moving to, I would say, not exciting topics, but extremely valuable, something that has never been possible until AI came along. And those are topics like AI, like data transformation. So being able, and that's especially, I think, relevant in the case of marketing operations and in the case of reporting, you can now take unstructured data, you can take full documents, and you can transform it into different structured data pieces, which is really great for inputting data into CRMs, which is really great into performance marketing. You can just take very unstructured, messy text long data, and you can make it into something that is inputable into your systems. Another one of those that I think is extremely valuable because it was simply not possible before AI came along, or it was not possible in a impactful way, was simple problem of search and enrichment. So to be able to search something in big scale and get some information out of it that you can use to enrich, for example, your contacts, that you can use to understand a little bit more about your leads, about your opportunities, about your CRM objects, as I would call them. So search and enrichment, again, is something where automated processes are extremely, extremely useful. And last but not least, data extraction is, again, something that is incredibly powerful. So to be able to extract pieces of data from, for example, emails, again, to input things into the CRM, it's super valuable because then we can gather data from different parts of the organization that we didn't have before, and we can create much more visibility about, who we are selling to, who are our ICP personas, right? We can really collect, transform, and extract the data that we were looking for forever. So stopping there, just taking a breather, I just wanted to introduce you through a few examples, and you can go back to the recording and you can see actually how those processes are initiated. What are those processes doing? But those are very simple processes that on any automation platform you can put in 15, 20 minutes. And you can just think about, okay, I will get some kind of input. I will put AI to do this kind of action, those actions that you can see on the screen. And then I will put that output somewhere into some kind of another system, right? So very simple AI problems, but whenever you think of them, then you can immediately say, okay, it makes sense to experiment with AI to try and to automate. To give you an example, that's a little bit more complex, and now we're getting into a little bit more of a complex area. But to give you an example of what we did collect SEO data in this kind of simple workflow. So I'm going to go bit by bit so you understand what's happening on the screen, and this is how it looks like in Make. But this is one of the use cases where we did the search and enrichment. So we did the search, and then we did use AI to transform the data we searched for and put them into a structured format. So in this case, what we did is we used AI to gather more data so we can create more quality content. So we were doing this kind of search to collect SEO data so we can create a better SEO brief. We did run a series of automated online searches. We analyzed that by AI. And we created this kind of output that allowed us to search and benchmark top 10 ranked articles for any keyword. automatically. So we kind of cut at least 2-3 hours from our SEO specialists on creating those briefs every single day, right? So that's just an example where actually AI and automation, a simple one, a combination of the use cases or the AI problems that I mentioned before, makes a lot of sense and has a lot of impact. Now, moving on to, because we are starting to start our engines and go into something a little bit more complex, because I do want to show you how far this can go. So some of the more complex, I would call them processes and workflows, where automation was key, and we put AI into that automation to make it more efficient, smarter, more impactful. Some of those are in different areas. I already mentioned the SEO area. I will also mention content preparation. But coming back to the Zoe, I want you to understand how to think about it, because when we think about a workflow, we think about a process. And that process has different steps, and you have to think about what happens in that process. What are the different steps? So before I show you the automation, I want you to see how we were thinking about it. What were the steps that we took when we were thinking about that process? And in the case of content production, so that's the use case, that's the AI problem that we are solving. The process looked like this. We gathered SEO data. You already saw the automation for that. So we gather the SEO data. We get data that we find on the internet on a particular keyword. We get the top 10 articles for that particular keyword thanks to that automation. We create a content brief out of it. So we take the data and we create content. We create a brief. And in that brief, you will have this is the top 10 articles. These are the keywords that are relevant and ranking well. This is the suggested length. You get a bunch of data that we collected in the first step, and you just create a brief out of it. And in the last bit, you create a first draft of the article. So that's an example of different processes where you already have a workflow doing different steps of the way. The way it looks like, because we already covered the first process, we already covered the gather SEO data. The second bit, or actually this is the last bit, this is creating the first draft. So again, showing how, because you would have one process, second process, and third process, right? So you would have 3 different branches of that process, again, having that process thinking, to show you how a little bit more complex, or what it actually means to go a little bit more complex. If you want to create a first draft, it is rarely, just calling ChatGPT and it spits out a first draft. If you want to have a quality copy, and that's our learning, that's something we have tested over and over again. If you want to create a good copy, for example, a blog post or something of a longer copy that actually has some kind of SEO impact, it does require more steps. And in this case, we actually use AI to create multiple steps. So we actually take the first step to create a title. So we have a few proposals to create a title. We save them in a Google Sheet. Then we, again, use AI, invoke AI in that workflow to generate the first paragraph. Then we generate a second paragraph, and so on. So we do this process iteratively multiple times until we create a longer content. So that's the way how we kind of capture this opportunity of pre-generating content that will save our team time. But that's long enough and quality enough that we actually were able to augment not only the content writing process, but really speed up our content production while actually maintaining quality and while not sounding as ChatGPT whenever we publish something. Right? So that's, again, to give you an example of how one of the steps in the process could actually look like when it's implemented, to really show you that this is, in this case, if you want to have good results, then you can go further and you can have multiple steps and you can play around and you can build something that's flexible and a little bit more potent. Still building on this example, because I want to show you how it actually looked like. So I want to show you how it looked for our content writers, because at the end of the day, they had to interact with the system, right? So just so you understand how that workflow at the end can be used by you or by your employees, or how you can design that automation, how you can design that system. The way it worked was simple. There was just a 5-step process for whenever there's a content writer. You submitted a topic via form, so there was a Google form. In there, you set a topic and the keyword that you wanted to submit. What happened next was this whole complex process that I showed. So there was this kind of search element, there was this brief creation element, and then it created, it spit out the first AI-generated draft, so the first draft of the article. And that took 18 minutes because it was a long process with multiple steps. As you saw, there was about, 20, 30 bubbles at least. So it was a long process because there was a lot of research involved. But then once it generated the first AI draft, did send that draft to the copywriter. So you would see here, there were different phases. And you would see here that there was an article generated, and you were able to open this brief, you were able to see the article, and you were able to approve and push it forward, or to see it and adapt it, tweak it a little bit. So the content creation shifted from, I do the research as an SEO specialist, or I do the research as a copywriter, create a brief for what I'm going to write about. Then I write the article, and then I review the article and someone reviews it, and there were final tweaks to this. All happens automatically. And then I get an article, I review, I do a few tweaks, and I'm ready to go. All right, so that was the final step. And you might at this point say, okay, yeah, I've tried that, or AI generated content doesn't really work. Well, it worked for us. Our AI content generated or increased our clicks by almost 30%. So we actually did an A/B test on this. So we took some of the random pages where we generated this content, and the pages with alt content where we didn't use this process were actually much less performing than this process that I've just showed you. Right. So this is a way how, if you do this process really well, you can create really great business outcomes with AI and automation. So again, another example, just to consolidate. I'm not going to show you, or I promise it's not going to be as complex, but I want to show you as many examples that were actually practical, so you can think about different areas of marketing and you know where to start. In Zoe's case, content production is great, but there are so many areas in marketing that, of course, she's curious, how can she leverage AI for other areas, such as performance tracking? So if we are able to really use AI as somewhat of getting some data, analyzing it, and being able to improve our performance. And we did something similar like this as well. I'm going to use the example for a YouTube channel. So I'm going to show you how we have actually created a system of taking different metrics from a YouTube channel and optimizing them, and again, to get a better, SEO performance in this case. And the way how the process looks like, the way how the flow looks like, again, from the process thinking perspective, it starts with collecting the metrics. So you have to, you have some videos on YouTube in our case, and we had to collect the metrics, so to extract those metrics so we have them in one place. We had to analyze those metrics, so we have to think about, okay, what do these metrics mean? Is it a good performance, bad performance? What metrics are relevant? What metrics are not relevant? And then we had to suggest changes based on the interpretation of those metrics, right? So this is a step-by-step how that works. So we had to say, okay, this is actually really bad. So in order to make it good, in order to make it perform better, we need to suggest these changes. So again, just so you understand how we were thinking about it in a flow perspective. And again, an example of what we did. When I speak about the first step, collect performance metrics, of course, this is something that's normally super time consuming. So going into the YouTube console and just noting line by line in a Google Sheet, metric by metric, is super time consuming. No one likes to do it, or at least I haven't yet met a person that likes to do it. So we did this workflow where we connect to YouTube, and we first connect to one part of the YouTube, and we extract, for example, the number of views. Then we extract all of our playlist. Then we extract, you can see multiple YouTube bubbles here. So we extract as much as we can extract automatically from YouTube, and we keep saving it into the system called Airtable. So the whole thing that the scenario is doing is just taking in and extracting these metrics. So we have them in one place. And we did this completely automatically, no manual effort required, and all metrics were just in one place. And that was the starting point. That was the process one of the metric collection of our YouTube performance marketing process. Then I mentioned that the second step was to analyze the data. So again, I think AI is really great in this area because it can, as you saw in this classification example, it can take and it can see those different patterns, and it can, like from unstructured data, and it can suggest the interpretation. It can basically process the data quite easily. And so what we did here, we loaded the data that we saved in one place. So we collected all the metrics, and we called AI a few times to understand what those metrics mean. So to really say, okay, please let me know, like, what, how is this, how does that translate to performance? How does that compare month on month with some other videos that we published previously? So to really put an insight and analysis into what those metrics mean. And thanks to this, we did, again, like, save time on crunching the data. So it's always good when you're starting to experiment with this, it's always good to also do it in parallel to understand how is it different. But overall, it is something that's to a great extent automatable. So you don't have to crunch the data manually. And normally, because of how much effort it takes to do this manually, I do think that having this kind of automated procedure can be incredibly valuable. So you can use the unstructured data and structured data together to get some insights. And I promise that was the last piece, and that's the last piece of this complex process. Then you suggest changes. So based on this performance, we actually came to a few conclusions. There's no AI here because there was actually a lot of those analysis and insights done. So we actually directly changed our videos on YouTube. And we, for example, uploaded the descriptions that contain some keywords because it wasn't like the video wasn't performing enough. And we could do this on a continuous basis. So we could do this actually not just once, but we could do this multiple times. So long as it didn't perform well, we could still keep optimizing the content to make sure that there is this kind of continuous improvement, that there is like no manual effort actually required. So it essentially became a self-improving system at the end of the day, right? So that's another process where it's not just about content creation. Maybe that's a good place to start, but we also did performance measurement with YouTube. Again, example, because I mentioned that we were analyzing it, we were collecting the data. So these are some of the metrics that the AI was helping us to collect and calculate. So we were able to, for example, take some page and to be able to see what position it has, how many clicks it created, the count of the words, what is the search volume monthly, and get those recommendations. So again, to get these recommendations from AI on what could we change and what those numbers actually mean in our context, and color code them, right? And we did this for multiple different pieces of our content. This is especially great if you are, for example, a solopreneur. If you're starting a company, then you would not even have someone do this, right? So you can build systems like these that can do this heavy lifting for you, right? So I promised that this has a end goal. So we are almost there. So you've seen quite a lot already. You've seen what are the types of AI products. You've seen what are the types of processes and workflows. So we are slightly increasing the complexity. And right now, I'm also going to show you what are the different AI products that you can then end up combining. And when I mean AI products, what I really mean is a combination of workflows that interact together to create a product that someone uses repeatedly, be it internal customers in your company or even external customers. Because you can package some of this, you can package this kind of YouTube analyzer or this kind of overall the SEO or content production systems into a product, right? So this is where, if things get really complex, you can create really cool stuff. Using Make as a system behind it. We create something called Audience Orbit. This is extremely advanced application of Make for marketing, but I still want to inspire you to see how far this can go. And the Audience Orbit is actually a very advanced analysis and like dashboard to classify our social media audience into different engagement levels. So we can, first of all, understand how engaged our audience is. And second of all, we can, for example, extract that, and we extract the list of the audience, of those different levels of engagement, and we can retarget or target this audience better. So we did create a system that extracts personas across channels. So again, like think of the diagram. We extracted personas across different channels. It's similar to social listening, to some of you might be already performing. We did analysis on the strength of their engagement, and we classified them into a level. So we had a few levels, and you can see them that this is the final visual display that we ended up creating. So we have this make center, which is make as a company, and you have different orbits here. And these represent the different engagement levels. So the closer the orbit, you can see, for example, this green one, that's the closest orbit. The closest this represents a person, someone from our audience. The closer it is to the company, the more engaged that audience is with our brand, with our company, with our product, right? So we were able to very quickly segment our audience into this kind of product, and this repeats itself or refreshes itself periodically, and our marketing team uses it to, again, get more insights into how our audience changes, how our audience performs or is engaged with the content and campaigns we are putting out there, but also to be able to target them more effectively through campaign management. And the impact, we actually had better understanding of our audience very, very clearly. But we also were able to run higher impact marketing campaigns. So this is where, we started with small problems and 3-step scenarios into building a full-fledged product that our team uses, and that helps us to have higher impact marketing campaigns, which is incredibly valuable for a company. Right. I will almost end here. I just want to kind of summarize some of the areas, because I started promising that these are the types of problems that AI is always good at, or generally good at. I also want to leave you with the message that actually AI is going to enhance most marketing areas. And the marketing areas where I see most benefit from using AI is, for example, to achieve personalization at scale. So tailor content based on your audience very easily. I also see campaign optimization. So you've already seen a few examples where performance marketing was involved, and marketing operations more broadly. So to standardize and automate operations, the regular reporting that no one likes to do. This is a great candidate for AI automation when you think in where to apply it in marketing. Right. That was a long journey, but hopefully there was a little bit of everything or a little bit of something for everyone. So thank you for staying with me. And in case you have any questions, I think we have a few minutes to go through those as well.
Thank you so much. It was awesome. And yes, we do have some questions here. I'm going to read it to you. First one is from Vortex. How much AI do you use in your life? Do you still use Google, or do you just use ChatGPT for everything nowadays?
Oh my God, I use AI a lot. It's not just ChatGPT. I'm a big, I do, for a lot of stuff. I have about, I think, 6 or 7 AI tools. I even have like an AI browser. So, and I even code some of the things, and I create prototypes. So I have one tool for prototyping, which is lovable. And I do have one tool for like a chatbot, which is Gemini. I also use Cursor for coding, and I use Dia. That's an AI browser that is really good to just improve overall the no longer Google Chrome stuff, but more intelligent browsers. So, and of course, make for automation. So yeah, a lot of AI.
That's awesome. I didn't know about the last one. It's cool. And now even like if you just use Google, you're using AI. So AI is everywhere. There's no way to not use it. So thank you so much. I think there was also great tips of which AI people should use. The next question is from Veru. Exists some AI for, that's a difficult word for me to read, genealogically, this word. Exists some AI for genealogy, especially for reading text in old scripts, old German, current, or old other scripts, reading between. Whoa, that was very specific.
Yeah,
That was
it's not
a very
something.
specific question.
It's not something my marketing team works with, if I'm being completely honest with you. So generally, so there are two ways of thinking about this. First of that is you often have those resources only in books that are hand copy. So what AI is really good at is transcribing some of it. So you can, for example, just take a photo and transcribe that, and then you can use that text for many different purposes. I also think I haven't tried that, but I know it's very good in Shakespeare. So I don't know German, current, and other scripts, but I know Shakespeare, which is a really old script. I know it has been trained on that data because that's actually one of those public data pieces that have been around for quite some time. So my guess is that it is good enough in some areas. It will not translate perfectly, and you might look for, again, maybe specific ones that are train or fine tune for those particular areas. You might want to look at some areas like Hugging Face, which has a lot of those fine tuned models, which is a little bit of a technical area. There might be a provider that's specifically around it. I would check some more of like a library resources or more academic resources where I would have imagined that something like this exists. But my guess is that actually it's not going to be completely bad because it might have come across some of these old scripts if they're somewhat aware, if somewhat publicly available on the internet.
Yeah, that was amazing. It's a very specific question and good answer. They also ask, or can I make some AI agent or assistant on this activity? So
Yeah, you can go and make. We have AI agents as well. We didn't cover that at this point because I think it's not the easiest stuff to cover, and I wanted to be consistent there. But there is an AI agent in Make as well. We use it for a lot of stuff. I personally use it to handle my email box, so I don't handle my inbox and emails anymore.
oh my
So that's
gosh.
yeah,
Next
exactly.
webinar has to be about this. That's my dream.
So you can build quite a lot of stuff. And we internally at Make, we have all our employees building, and we have 72 agents. This morning I checked that are running in our environment and in our processes. So you can use Make AI agents, and I would recommend you to use Make AI agents for, to experiment around agents.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And now the other questions from Kelly. She asked, does Make create those work teams for us, or do we build work teams on your platform?
Yeah, so Make is a building platform. So there are two things. Like there's a bunch of templates that you can take, and you can just click on it, and then you have to create connections to your systems, and you have to perhaps you have some specific filter that you want to apply. So there is a little bit of a setup. But from a template, you can go fairly quickly, and you will have some resources because I shared this with the team. You will have some resources for those templates, as well as some customer success stories that have been able to apply and build those work streams for themselves. And second way where I would say or where I could respond is and I would encourage you to build it yourself as much as possible, because that's where, if you can manage that, then there really is not a limit to what you can build. So the things that I showed to you during this presentation, those were built by my team directly. And it's something you would have to rebuild based on your needs. So we are a platform that has you building your work streams at the end of the day.
Awesome, thank you. And the next question is from Vortex. They asked, I want to start working more with AI. How do I start?
Yeah, open ChatGPT and ask about something that's relevant to your day, maybe some recipes or something, or maybe there is a really good way, what I recommend teams to do a lot. Now there is a way how you can use Gemini or AI or even ChatGPT like plugins into Google Worksheet. So you can open Google Sheet, etc., and you can have AI, for example, on the sideline analyze some of the insights. So you can really throw it you can throw a CSV to it, and you can ask some questions, right? So maybe some of these areas where you know how to work around Google Sheets, so maybe this is like a good starting point where you can try to do some of these operations with AI directly.
Awesome. Yeah, there's so many ways to use AI. And when we think about how to start, so many options comes to my mind. And the mention that you made about recipes, it's I use it a lot. I think I started using with recipes, especially for a conversion, because like ounces to mLs, and ChatGPT was my best friend. Instead of like trying to convert an other website, I just put the recipe there and just go with it. And then I was like, oh, that's actually pretty awesome. There's a lot of more things that I can do with it. So yeah, thank you so much for the answer. Let me check here if we have any more comments and questions.
I do see that there is a comment about me being rather fast. I forgot to say a little bit of a warning. I am a really fast person, so I take that as an input. But I do wanted to encourage you, because there is something called Make Academy, which is a resource that you can use and where you can build your own first automation step by step. So I wanted to show you what's possible, but there are resources that you can leverage.
Awesome. And like people can just rewatch it again. If it was too fast, that's the sign for you to take an extra time, take your pen, your paper, your other chat GPTs, your AI, whatever you use, and make notes. Because when we like take it, like personally, I like when people do it fast because I have time to learn everything at once. And I love the opportunity of going back and double checking everything. So you can do that. The recording is gonna be here for you all to watch. And if you want to come back in 5 years, it's gonna still be here. Let me see if we have more questions. I need Vortex again. Yes, I need personal assistant for my store. Is it possible to make my own bot to answer clients' questions professionally? And is it hard to do that? I have so many thoughts about this.
Please share.
SendPulse. It's so easy. It's so easy. Just create your account. You can do your chatbot there, and it's like super simple. It's easy to connect. All the connection points is official, so there's no way for your chatbot to get banned because you're not following the rules. Also, there's a lot of templates there, so if you are not creative enough on that day, because we all are creative is something that we train and not something that we are born with. So if on that day you're not creative enough, you can just like open the templates that we have, see there, and start from like a templates. Way easier, way faster, and you can also make tons of connections, especially with Make. It's amazing. SendPulse is here for exactly what you need. Oh, and he asked another question. Is okay easy to integrate with Shopify stores? It's easy, super easy to integrate. Like the SendPulse API is open. There's also our official partners that you have on our store. Make is one of them. So if you want to integrate with Make, it's like super simple. It's already on SendPulse. You just make like I don't know how many clicks, but just small clicks, and it's integrated. So yes, you can do it. Another question is, which I think that's going to be the last one before we get late. Which is the best cost-effective AI model that could be used for chatbot conversations, making exit goals, or conditionals and SendPulse AI agent? About cost, that's complicated. I think that would be more an answer for me from SendPulse. About cost, I don't know the cost of every AI there is in the earth. There's a lot of them. We're more than welcome to send a message to our support team. I honestly don't know if they know the answer for the best cost effective, because there's tons of AI. But you can ask them, or you can ask AI which will be the best, and the AI will answer to you, because when we talk about AI, there's so many options and so many possibilities. The answer, like if I give you a specific answer, it cannot be true because I don't know all of them. I think that was all of the questions that we had, Sarah. So thank you so much for teaching everything. It was awesome. I had a blast watching you talking everything. By the way, I love your presentation. It's amazing. It's like super easy to understand. So thank you so much for your time and for all the knowledge that you share with us today.
No, thank you for having me, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.